Cousin Gerard is a fantastic episode of Everybody Loves Raymond. I also never realised how much Fred Stoller looks like Ray Romano, and now I can't unsee it. This is the 7th episode of the 4th season of Everybody Loves Raymond. It's directed by Mackenzie, and as always there will be spoilers from now as I go through the episode and share some thoughts. And it starts off in the basement where Ray is working on a book, and Marie suggests that Cousin Gerard could help him with his book. And Ray eventually, just to make Marie happy, says, yes, okay, tell him to call me. I did not expect Marie to then go to the bottom of the stairs and shout up for Cousin Gerard. He was there the entire time. And the casting is just amazing. I really like Fred Stoller. I've seen him in a lot of things, and it just never occurred to me how much he looks like Ray Romano. But seeing them side by side, there were times when he looked more like Ray Romano. It was just brilliant, absolutely superb casting. And Gerard does help with the book. He's very nervous, insecure, anxious. He is getting high from highlighter fumes. Well, he's concerned he's getting high from highlighter fumes. And Ray asks him to just proofread the chapters that he's written. And Gerard does find a typing error. Ray wrote iron whore instead of iron horse. And he found it quite quickly as well, which is a bit of a concern. And Ray instantly I don't want to say was offended that he'd found a mistake, but instantly wasn't comfortable that Gerard had so quickly found an issue with the book. And that's not something Ray wanted to hear. And then Ray is in bed with Debra, and he says to Debra, he keeps complaining in that nasal, whiny voice. And the audience's reaction, it's a good job we were all on the same wavelength, because the audience reaction definitely said pot kettle, because Debra basically told him that Ray sounds just like him, or Gerard sounds like Ray, whichever way you want to look at it. And Ray then went over to Murray and Frank's, and Gerard is there with Robert, and Gerard excuses himself to go to the bathroom. And I wasn't expecting this either. There are quite a few things in this that were unpredictable. As soon as Gerard was out of the room, Marie, Frank and Robert were all complaining about Gerard. They were all fed up with him. And well, they also all established that yes, actually, he and Ray are quite alike. And Ray points out that he only comes over here to eat, and then that's kind of just left hanging, because we all know that Ray often only goes over when Marie is cooking. And he points out that Debra thinks that he's a lot like him, and they all discuss this. And it just confirms what everybody else was thinking, that actually Gerard is a lot like Raymond. And he doesn't want to hear this. So he tells Debra that he doesn't want to work with Gerard. He wants to fire him. Maybe Debra could fire him for him. And Debra says, and I love this, I really love this quote. She said, if there's something about you that's bothering you, then why don't you work on you? And I think that that's a really, really brilliant message there. I think Ray, yes, he was annoyed by Gerard, but I think mostly he was projecting. He was annoyed that he was seeing bits of himself, and he was finding those bits of himself very annoying, and definitely projecting his feelings of being irritated with himself onto being irritated even more than he already was with Gerard, which I thought was really quite interesting. Ray then is down in the basement with Gerard. It seemed like it was going in a positive direction. He apologised to Gerard for being grumpy, and then said that they needed to work on Gerard. And he spun this as kind of Gerard is working for Ray, so he's a reflection of him, therefore they need to work on him. And he first told Gerard to make eye contact and then to smile, and his smile was wonderful. Creepy, but very, very funny. And Gerard's complaining about, well, everything, but also if somebody started to probe me and prod at me like that, I'd also complain. And Ray asked him, why do you have to be so negative all the time? And I loved this. Gerard responded, because I'm not very happy. Which I loved. There are plenty of times when somebody could easily say to somebody, why are you always so negative? But why don't they maybe think, instead of just asking somebody, maybe there's a reason why that person's negative all the time. I'm sure there are plenty of people who are just negative for the sake of being negative, but usually if somebody's always looking on the negative side, there's maybe an underlying reason for that. And Ray is just getting completely out of hand. And his face, when Gerard turned round and called Ray annoying, I just thought was absolutely fantastic. Gerard realised he didn't want to put up with this. He ended up leaving, and Ray clearly has felt like he's just confronted a version of himself, and he's not exactly happy with the situation either. And the final scene is Ray going over to Marie Frank. Well, not Marie Frank and Robert's, Marie and Frank, but Robert is there, and Ray's plan is to tell everybody all of the things about them that are also annoying. And because Robert's the only one there, he lists off annoying things about Robert. Robert's not concerned until Ray said that Amy was annoying as well. I don't think he thinks that. I think it was just a retaliation. And the way Robert stood up and Ray scarpered out of that kitchen, I thought was very funny. So it's a brilliant episode. I feel like it absolutely relied on the casting. I'd love to know what came first. The idea for the story, or the idea to bring Fred Stoller into an episode. It wouldn't surprise me. I have no reason to believe this is true, but it wouldn't surprise me if somebody said, hey, Fred Stoller looks a lot like Ray Romano. Maybe we can do something with that if he wanted to be in an episode. And if that's the case, that's brilliant. If the story came first and then they tried to find somebody who looked like Ray, they did a pretty amazing job with that one. So Cousin Gerard, I think, is a fantastic episode. It absolutely relied on the casting or the character of Gerard. And I think Fred Stoller just did a really brilliant job. And it's a really brilliant episode as well.